Good day, everybody. My name is Dr. Francois Tessier. I'm the CEO of the Center for Complementary Therapy and Pain Management in Sri Lanka. And welcome to this series of Zoom interview where we discover the most amazing doctors and therapists participating in complementary therapies worldwide. And today we have a very special guest. We have Dr. Cairo Rocha from the Bahama Therapeutic Institute. Dr. Cairo has been teaching and practicing acupuncture and correlated natural healing therapies for so many years. He holds a PhD in natural science from the University of New Mexico and a doctorate degree of Oriental medicine from the Tokyo Acupuncture MOXIBUSTION and Jusei College in Japan. Dr. Cairo has traveled extensively and studied in Germany, in France, in the UK, in the USA, everywhere in the world. Dr. Cairo is also an author of a book called Anger Goes Up, Fears Go Down, Emotion and the Hidden Link. Dr. Cairo frequently asked to present workshops and conferences on health and healing in the Bahamas and all around the world. Actually, Dr. Cairo is currently in a private practice in the Palm Therapeutic Center in Nassau, Bahamas. Well, Dr. Cairo, thank you for accepting my invitation. Welcome and thank you for being with us, sharing your knowledge and therapeutic approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Francois. It's a really pleasure to be with you. And I thank you very much for creating this beautiful space where like-minded people can get together.
Yeah, we want to inspire people, right? That's our goal. All right, so Dr. Cairo, your introduction is quite short compared to the extent of your journey. So you have an extensive background, you practice acupuncture, you also practice Feng Shui. I think that you started your career with doing acupressure. You are extensively using essential oils. You treat the body, you treat the emotion. That's a lot. So tell me a little bit of your history and mainly how you came to this, how you came to healing. How did it start? Tell us your story, doctor.
Well, thank you, Francois. What happens is I've been basically, I can say that I've been involved with Chinese, Japanese, and Tibetan medicines for over 30 years or so. And I've been involved in so many capacities, as a student, as a teacher, and as a professional, as a therapist. But in spite of all this involvement with energy healing and Qi and everything, it's not something that I woke up one day in the past, I'm going to be an acupuncturist. Far from that. Although, looking back in retrospective, I remember when I was about 6 or 7 years of age, very, very young, I used to have this recurrent dream. So I used to dream that I had a huge hand. The hand was huge, and I was trying to hold the needle. Oh. And because my hand was too big and the needle was so small, that would create a little anxiety. And I start crying, and my mom would come and console me. So this went on for I don't know how many years. So I think I take it as some sort of premonition, right?
Maybe a message.
A message. But what happens is I grew up in Brazil, in a very small town, but I couldn't relate to anything people were doing in those days when you're studying, choosing a profession, either be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. I couldn't relate to anything like that. So I love maps. I always love traveling things. So I started studying geography and then move on to geology because I like volcanoes, all these things. But there was a void. There was something missing that I couldn't describe. So I decided to study something that would bring me close to people. I decided to become a lawyer. I studied law, became a lawyer. But at the end of it, it was even worse. The void was still there. I couldn't explain. I couldn't, So not knowing what to do, I saw this ad in a newspaper, Douyin Weekend. For some mysterious reason, I decided to attend the seminar, and that changed my life completely.
In Brazil?
In Brasilia, yeah. There was, for people who don't know, Douyin is a Japanese acupressure therapy.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that short circuit every cell of my brain. And I said, this is it. I don't know, this is it. There's something to it. And immediately after, that's the universe playing its part, I met this old acupuncturist. He was about to retire. And he had studied in Japan during the war, after the war, with a samurai descendant who had to pass his knowledge to him. So he took him to Japan and he became his disciple. And this is the man I met. Immediately after that, he came to me and said, go to Japan. Go to Japan and study acupuncture. So I said, well,
he became
my friend and master kept saying that I was this, oh no, going to Japan was another profession, another thing. I can't do that. But he kept insisting. And one day, immediately, not far away from that, I've heard that the most traditional school of acupuncture in Japan, in Tokyo, was opening its doors for acupuncturists, for foreigners, for the first time in their history. I said, very interesting. But I wasn't quite convinced yet.
Oh.
So I prayed. I need a sign. I need something that shows me that I'm in the right direction. And I had a sign. I remember, Francois, I had this dream, and I was in a large room, and in front of me there was this Japanese blue and white porcelain vase, those traditional ones, broken into pieces. Broken, it's scattered as far as the pieces were as far as my eyes could see in front of me. And behind me, there was this voice suggestion, go and assemble it, put it together. Next morning, I got a ticket and went to Japan, and my life changed. It was like, even though I was in a place I'd never been before, I didn't know much Japanese, maybe sayonara or something like that, but I felt totally at home. Yes. I spent some time with a strawberry farm as a student. I enrolled myself in this student exchange. So I stayed with a family in Hokkaido, working strawberry farm, and that slowly was being part of myself. So when I went back to Tokyo, I was kind of ready. So I got involved with acupuncture and the training, everything. But it was a beginning of a journey. And during that time, I was exposed to shiatsu, was my first therapy, and then acupuncture and other therapies and methods of Japanese. But because I was there for 4 years, and I had this, I was fortunate to be involved or directed to masters. So I got to understand more of the Japanese ideas and feelings and the way they do acupuncture, as with everything. So that was slowly molding my path, directing my path. And later on, I went to Germany, studied natural medicine, 4 more years in Germany, and then traveled extensively, and finally went back to Brazil. It was 8 years since I left Brazil, came back to Brazil, and that very man, that very old acupuncturist, he had opened a school of acupuncture
in Brazil.
As his last, in Brasilia, Brazil. And he kept saying, you're going to be teaching in my school. I said, who am I to teach? I mean, I've just arrived in the country. But yeah, I ended up teaching, and finally he retired, and I ended up with the school in my hands. For 7 years, I run this acupuncture school until it was the time for me to move on. That's why I came to the province.
What
That's why.